What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show brought to you by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, John Luke and Joey Wright. Well, John Luke's last name is Garofalo. The and did not include both of their last names. Joining us today, he got the hat memo. Our great friend Justin Henry is here. For those of you that do not know Justin, you can find him on Twitter at Justin Henry. Just replace that E with a 3 in Henry. Make sure you're following him on TikTok for all of that NBA and NFL fantasy betting goodness. It's the same name at Justin Henry. And check out the Justin Henry Show. You just missed today's episode. It was right before this, but go subscribe to them on YouTube at Justin Henry Show as well. Justin, thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us.
You know, you guys get me in the heart of the season, right? Trade deadline is going to be coming up here in fantasy football. We got the 0-4 panic going on, the 4-0 gloat going on in fantasy football. A lot of things are starting to settle in, though. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a good time to be in fantasy football. And then, like I said, Fantasy Hoop is on the way here as well. Fantasy
Hoop's coming in hot. That means you're about to be even busier than you already are right now. So glad we snuck in here right before that got going, Justin.
Justin, you're a Niners fan, right?
Oh, yeah. Big Niner fan.
So is your NBA team same area?
No, if I went like this and I looked up here real quick, you can see a little Lakers hat, little Lakers action. Right. I think if I move to the side here, you can see a little Kobe action over my arm. Yeah, I'm a big Laker fan.
Goat. Love it.
49ers and Lakers. We got some people in the chat ready for today's show. Craig down here with the stats. Welcome back, Craig, after your trip out of town. Says today is Justin's 7th FYF appearance and his 2nd FYF mock draft. Previously mock drafted with us on FYF on June 20th, 2022. How you like that for some fast calendar math?
So impressive, Simon. You read that date.
I know my numbers. I've typed in enough expiration dates off credit cards on websites that put the month instead of the number to
stop stealing people's identities.
No, I'm poor and have no morals. We got Scampers in here saying, yo, ho, hello. Really difficult to read, Mr. Scampers. Dustin in here with the hashtag Team Joey. Well, today.
I think I can win a draft. I don't know.
Not with Justin here. Albert in here saying, hello, everyone. What's up, Albert? Welcome in.
What up, Albert?
And Herm stopping by. FYF and Justin, elite combo, 10 out of 10, 0.
My guy Herm.
No notes. No notes.
We have Scott Fish, the unofficial chat historian, stopping by saying, today's guest has also been a member of 2 boy bands, once crashed a wedding and gave a speech using his own poetry, and finished 3rd place in a grade school spelling bee at the age of 24. Incredible, Justin.
Thanks,
highly
Scott.
impressive accolades.
just runs up there, shoves a kid off the stage and says, I know this one.
Dog, D-O-G, I win.
I win and declare yourself.
But you were humble, so you grabbed the 3rd place trophy on your way out.
But you come back because you're not that humble, and you grab the 1st place.
Dustin stopping by saying fantasy hockey on its way too. Anybody here going to be partaking? And Justin and JL shook their head different directions, but it means the same thing. Justin went no Jalen.
Yeah, that is on its way. That is.
Also with Darius stopping by as well, saying good afternoon, all. What's up,
Darius?
Sadden.
Without Jay on here, I'm going to be honest, this is not a very hockey-friendly show. And no Coop here either, so all your hockey lovers are absent. And so hockey talk
just like
is
their teeth.
A bare minimum. Unless there's like a crazy fight or one of them starts dating Taylor Swift, we're probably not going to talk about
Didn't she date a hockey player?
I don't know.
At one time?
Was Joe Jonas a hockey player?
I don't know all the information that's ever been out there.
All right, well, guys, we brought Justin here to do a rewind mock draft with us. The season has started. We got a little bit more information now, 4 weeks worth of information. Some players we thought were going to kill it have not. And some players that nobody expected to blow up are out here just at the top of the leaderboards through 4 weeks. We'll see how that affects our decisions in today's draft. Just to be clear, this is not drafting for the rest of the season. This is now, all of us are stepping into a time machine with all of the information that we have. The season's going to play out exactly the same way as it has already. We're just drafting with 4 weeks worth of information already. So you know Puka Nacua is going to blow up. You know Devon Achane's not going to show up till week 3, but then he's dropping 52 points for you. So that's how we're drafting today. I see Sam in the chat stopping by saying I'm procrastinating work. Also, go Panthers. I have renounced the Flyers. Well, those are different sports, so you're allowed to be fans of both teams, Sam. But I appreciate you picking one team.
There's a Florida Panthers. They're
There's
a
a
hockey
Panthers
team.
hockey team. There's a
And there's
Panthers
a
every
Philadelphia
team.
Flyers.
Every single league that's ever
Damn
existed, there's a Panthers somewhere in that league.
Also, Herm says, I've got a Caps tattoo on my left arm. So there's somebody who's hockey friendly. He's got hockey tattooed on him.
There you go.
The hockey ties.
All right. Well, I'm going to pull this up. Before we get started, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you're not already following our guest, Justin, fix that right now. You can find him on Twitter at Justin Henry. Replace the E with a 3. Like we mentioned, he can help you out with this NFL season, but we got NBA just around the corner as well. And if you want that one-stop shop for both your fantasy leagues, you can follow him on Twitter. After you do that, wherever you're watching this video, probably on YouTube, Front Yard Fantasy or Better Sports Network, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to show your support for what we're doing. And that little notification bell will make sure you never miss us when we go live every day at 3 p.m. Eastern time, except those pesky weekends. Those always stop us from going live.
Never once went live on a weekend.
Except sometimes.
Those pesky,
except for the times that we did.
Hey, guys, this is a super flex league. The rosters are as follows. 1 quarterback and a super flex, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and then 2 normal flex spots. So not 3 wide receiver like a lot of the mock drafts we do, but there is that extra flex in there. So 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex, and a super flex. You guys ready to kick this off?
Let's do it.
Joey, the 101. You know how the first 4 weeks went. Who are you taking? Joey taking Christian McCaffrey. That is also where I would have gone. Joey, was this a debate at all for you?
For a minute, I was going to take Josh Allen, and then I was like, McCaffrey, we probably should have been taking him 101 overall all offseason. We doubted it. Some people didn't doubt it. And listen, he has more fantasy points than anyone right now. I'm just going to go chalk as I can be, even though it is super flex. That was the debate in my mind with super flex. Yeah.
Justin, do you agree with Joey's decision here? Do you think in a super flex league, you got to take one of those quarterbacks up top?
I'm always team. Normally, I'm team. 0 QB, especially later on in super flex leagues. Like you can find value later. I probably would have went with the Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes, but I can't be mad at getting an elite piece in Christian McCaffrey, who looks like the consensus #1 player in any league that's not super flex.
And he plays for your team, so I was playing up to the guest.
Sucking up to Justin early on. Well, guys, if you're like Joey and you like what you've seen from Christian McCaffrey so far this year, over on RT Sports Pick'em game right now, his line is at 20.1 fantasy points going up against this Cowboys team. You pair him with a couple more players, you could win some real money. You should head to rtsports.com/alarm right now. 2 correct picks is going to get you 3 times your entry. 3 correct picks will win you 6x. You can get up to 40x with 6 correct picks. First-time depositors are going to get an instant 100% instant match up to $200. And like I said, that CMC line is sitting there at 20.1 fantasy points, and that's looking mighty fresh to me. All right, we have 3 more picks now. And, Joe, you started us off with a running back, but 3 quarterbacks now off the board. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts. John Luke, what do you think about this start here? Would you have gone with Joey's running back to kick us off, or would you have gone with one of these quarterbacks?
I would have gone with one of those quarterbacks.
Just position-wise in Superflex, there's too much value.
Yeah, I can't give up. CMC is fantastic. I can give all of the credit to CMC for allowing me to destroy Maria in fantasy football this week.
I'm not gonna lie, Anthony Richardson might be making a case to move up that list. Herms with a steal right there. That might be his steal right there at the 106.
Oh, we were just talking about him. I think Joey might have brought up I think he asked a couple days ago where he thought Anthony Richardson would creep up into the top 5 in Dynasty. You think so, Justin?
He might already be there.
Oh,
that's a guy. To me, I look at like what Cam Newton was at his valuation when he was younger and going through his early spurt. Like I understand the injury risk with Anthony Richardson, but there's a conversation that needs to be had about his value, because if the team's going to run him in goal line situations, in red zone situations like they have been, he's going to be such a dynamic fantasy asset for the next however many years. As long as he can stay upright, he's going to be one of the top quarterbacks, if not the top quarterback in fantasy here very soon.
Feels like Anthony Richardson just kind of replaced Justin Fields' spot in the hype train from before the season. Like now Justin Fields is back there where Anthony Richardson was hopefully.
Man, and the Panthers are sitting here just like doubling down. Like, no, Bryce Young was the right pick. We just need a wide receiver. That's it. We just need a Mike Evans type guy, and Bryce Young's definitely the dude. I'm not out on Bryce Young, like that he's playing behind a terrible offensive line, even worse than we thought it was going to be. But if you're the Panthers watching Anthony Richardson doing what he's doing early, you got to be feeling pretty sad that you didn't draft that dude with the first overall pick. There was that risk already built in with Bryce Young in his height. Justin, are you out on Bryce Young, or you think he can turn it around?
I just think with the level, he's still young, right? So I think in Dynasty, I'm not out on Bryce Young. I've always kind of been avoiding him because of the smaller frame. It just looks like he's not ready. The game's moving a little fast for him right now. He obviously suffered an injury already to start his career, but this isn't a player I'm completely giving up on. It's just, I think in Dynasty, maybe we tear down our expectations. He might be a second or third year guy as opposed to like a right now guy.
Dale, you probably have the most controversial draft pick of this draft so far, grabbing Joe Burrow here at the end of the first round after what we've seen through 4 weeks. You have confidence that Joe Burrow is going to turn it around after that?
Confidence, somewhat. I have some confidence. I drafted him here. It's a bet, right? These are bets. I'm taking a bet that Joe Burrow is going to return value on this in the later half of the season, and that bet could miss. Very well could miss. We don't have all the information here currently with Joe Burrow. More specifically, it's like, what is he dealing with on an injury side of this? So I'm taking this bet here because I feel like this is going to set my team up, but there's risk.
Definitely a lot of risk there with Joe Burrow, but a redraft, even with that information, it doesn't just throw away all of our priors. You had priors on Joe Burrow. These 4 weeks don't necessarily just throw those out the window. Justin, you feeling like he can bounce back?
I think it all depends on the injury, right? This is something that continues to linger over the next 2 or 3 weeks. There's a chance that this Cincinnati team can't string some wins together, that it might be more valuable to put Joe Burrow on IR. So unless he can get through the year healthy, that's the only thing that concerns me, because if this division gets away from them, Joe Burrow becomes an immediate shutdown candidate, especially with the way the offensive line's been playing.
Yeah, if it doesn't start going well, that could be absolutely brutal for anybody relying on him or his pass catchers. Justin, in a super flex league, you started no quarterbacks. Travis Kelce, a tight end in the first round of a super flex league, followed by Stephon Diggs. How you feeling about this start?
Well, I went tight end because we see what tight end is this year, and there's not a lot of reliable options. Travis Kelce, who we know is an outlier at the position, just gives you such a positional advantage. And I think in a super flex league, I actually feel more confident in my ability to pick up a quarterback in the 4th, 5th, or 6th round than I do a tight end in the 4th, 5th, 6th round that's actually relevant. So for me, I think Travis Kelce is enough of an outlier to take him early.
I like that. And tight end is a disaster this year. The tight ends I thought I could rely on. I'm like, there's legitimate questions. JL, our friend Tim texted us the other day, should I start Laporta or Waller? And got a split answer. 4 weeks into the season, a rookie tight end was a reasonable answer to start over the tight end that was drafted 3rd or 4th off the board, depending on your league.
Well,
we got a question.
What was the right answer to that?
Probably Laporta. The Giants died. The Giants didn't. I don't think anybody scored a single fantasy point on the Giants last week.
9 Maybe Matt Breida had 5.1 for Darren Waller.
Brutal, man. We had a question in here from Joe. Joe wanted to know, should I trade DeAndre Swift and Cortland Sutton for Joe Mixon, DJ Moore, and Christian Watson? Joey, I'm throwing this one your way. What do you think here? You making this move? Oh, you're muted. Can't hear you.
I would. Mixon Swift is for me, it's kind of wash. I know Swift's look really well, but I do think Mixon could come on. And then DJ Moore and Christian Watson for Cortland Sutton. Absolutely. I'll take that every day. I would probably just do Christian Watson straight up for Cortland Sutton, and I'm on the clock.
And Justin, I saw you shaking your head down there. You agree with Joey? You'd be making this move as well?
This is a classic sell high, in my opinion. I think DeAndre Swift is going to be good for this football team, but not at these RB1 levels he's been playing at over the last 2 weeks. I expect a little bit more balance as the season goes on, and we've seen DeAndre Swift look good like this in times past. But I think getting a guy like Mixon at his lowest point, DJ Moore and Christian Watson, this is a good depth move and you're trading high on value. I love this move, getting Mixon, DJ Moore, Christian Watson.
I'm with you guys.
Joey brought up Sutton as trying to get away from, and I think he's a good topic to probably talk about here because he hasn't performed poorly in fantasy.
Not at all.
But a lot of touchdowns. 3 touchdowns out of 4 in 4 games. You're fully out on Sutton, Joe?
No. I just think for DJ Moore and Christian Watson, that's a significant upgrade in wide receiver, especially if you need the depth. Sutton, I mean, he looks like he's Russell Wilson's preferred target to start the season, and Jerry Jeudy has just not come on like we thought he was going to. Marvin Mims is just like a big bang wide receiver, so I think Sutton's probably the safest wide receiver on the Broncos. I just think that DJ Moore and Christian Watson together is worth more than Sutton.
I got you. That makes a lot of sense. How you feeling about Cortland Sutton, Justin?
Cortland Sutton's a player I don't really care to think a lot about. He's he's one of those players, like when you start him, you don't feel very confident in his ceiling. I just think he's a good floor play in an offense that relies on him. Doesn't have a whole lot of like 120 with 2 touchdown days in his repertoire because Russ spreads the ball out, right? There's a lot of options on this Broncos passing attack. Jerry Jeudy, Brandon Johnson. We see little Jordan Humphrey even get involved at some point here. Marvin Mims, obviously. So I'm not overly concerned about Cortland Sutton's value. I think you have more upside, way more upside with a Christian Watson, and probably similar valuation. I'd rather have DJ Moore slightly, but a similar valuation between him and Cortland Sutton, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that. I like the point you bring up about the consistency of Sutton, and that's I feel like that's the worry I've been having on Cortland Sutton is like, man, he seems consistent through 4 weeks. He does seem like Russ's favorite target. I just don't think that offense is going to be very consistent.
Well, you want to have I think in your wide receiver 3-ish spot, which is where you have to start Cortland Sutton, assuming maybe you're putting him in your flex as like a high upside flex. But like when you start a wide receiver 3, you want to have more upside than that, right? You already have your stable options, your Devontae Adams, your Keenan Allens, your guys who are going to get you a little bit more of the stability of position. Why are you going to start a guy that's consistently a 10 to 12 point guy in your wide receiver 3 spot? To me, I think you could find more upside in a Christian Watson in that spot. Maybe he has a 7-point week, but then he also has a week where he scores 25 for your lineup, and now you're set at that. You know what I mean? Like there's just a little bit more ceiling. I prefer that as opposed to like a Robert Woods type safe player at wide receiver 3. Give me the upside.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's like he fits that role way better.
I hate this. I'm going to ruin everything. Oh, well, I'm just doing it. I'm going to draft Jordan Love. I wanted to point out Mr. Sam Wagman's draft over here. He took the rewind and said, yes, sir, I will. Drafted CJ Stroud as the top 12 quarterback there in the 2nd round with what he's been doing in Houston. And then took Achane as the 5th running back off the board here. But based on what we've seen in that Dolphins offense, it may not be a bad call. Justin, how are you feeling about those 2 picks? Stroud is a top 12 guy and Achane is a top 5 guy.
I think CJ Stroud is a top 15 quarterback and has upside for more. The thing I don't see with him is the rushing ability, right? We know that he's not like a super rusher. So when his team does go against a better defense, I'll say, and it's not all volume based for CJ Stroud, how's he going to play? And so that's my concern with CJ Stroud as a top 12 value. You got to take him over guys that are very similar. Like Jordan Love's very similar, but to me, it doesn't seem as dependent on the volume as like a CJ Stroud. So I prefer him, Deshaun Watson, just slightly more. And then Devin Achane going this high is absolutely crazy. Saquon Barkley hasn't been taken off the board yet.
I was wondering what you were saying you got to that pick.
CJ Stroud, pretty good. He's looking great. And what is wrong with
what the hell are you doing?
I'm a little more bullish on Achane. I think it's still too early, but I see you, Sam. I get it. Joe, you're nodding your head no.
I got to give Sam a hard time on that one.
No, I was shaking my head about something else. Kyren Williams, like I understand the hype around him, but I just can't get over like his yards per carry is so low and he's just falling in the end zone. Like that has to go away at some point. I understand he's getting fantasy points right now, but
I don't know if it has to go away. It could just not.
It could just keep going up.
It could just go up forever.
I'm that's very unlike me to poop on someone's pick. I didn't mean to show that on camera, but
well, Andrew, Joey hates your pick. I don't mind it though, because who the hell is behind him? It's Kyren Williams backfield. I know they're starting to give some carries elsewhere, but even if it's a bad rushing attack, it seems safe. Like that volume should be his unless he gets injured. And if he finds the end zone, which will be a little bit more unlikely with Kupp returning, Stafford's favorite red zone target. then you're really happy in a week.
Maybe a couple fall down at the 4-yard line like Amon or St. Brown does.
Just over and over and over again. Justin, you took Saquon Barkley, the guy you said can't believe he's still on the board, even with the injury. You're fine taking him here in the 4th round?
Yeah, because I play fantasy, and this is, I think it's easy to forget that fantasy football is a game, and it's a long game, right? It's easy to look at the first 4 weeks and say, you know what, these are the best guys. I need to get rid of some of the players that I spent all season saying, all off season, I said I wanted these guys. I valued them this way, and in the first 4 weeks, it goes to the gutter, right? And so it's easy to get excited about the first 4 weeks, but I'm playing for the last 3 weeks, 15, 16, 17, and I think Saquon Barkley will be available and productive for my fantasy team.
That's a great point.
Sam, I see you. I see
you, Justin.
He's trying to fight is what Sam's trying to do. Doesn't like you taking shots at his picks. We had a couple questions come in here in between. And guys, we're going to try to answer as many of these questions throughout the show today as possible. But myself and Joey will be live right after this on our YouTube channel, Front Yard Fantasy, for about 30 minutes answering any and all of the fantasy questions that you guys have for us in fantasy football office hours. So if we don't get to your question on the show here, make sure to come back for office hours and we'll answer whatever you got.
I just remembered I committed to do that. I'll be here. I just now remembered I'm doing that today. Yeah, okay.
Cameron in here wanted to know 14 teams full PPR, currently 0-4. Uh-oh. Are you dropping any of these wide receivers to pick up Josh Palmer, who's on bye this week? Elijah Moore, Marvin Mims Jr., JSN, or Zay Jones? Justin, you dropping any of those guys for Josh Palmer?
I think we haven't seen Zay Jones be able to stay on the field, and he's a questionable flex. So for me, that's an easy one. Marvin Mims is also an easy answer for me. He's a shot guy with a lot of upside, but very inconsistent for your lineups. I think either one of those, I'd drop Elijah Moore for him too. I ain't gonna lie to you. JSN's really the only one I would want to hold on to.
Holding on to JSN, but Zay Jones, the top drop. That makes me so sad because after week 1, I was like, oh, baby, it's happening again. Here comes Zay. And then we haven't seen too much of it yet. John Luke, who are you dropping out of this bunch?
Yeah, I think Zay makes a lot of sense just the competition-wise. I see Josh Palmer as having higher upside than some of these options, but realistically, I think more likely he'll probably fit into this group. So Zay Jones is the one I would pick. I wouldn't be shocked or upset if you chose any of these wide receivers, though.
I'm holding Mims if I can. Mims is the one that I think I want to hold on to just to see if that develops into something over the back half of this season because we've seen flashes of it, and that wouldn't be unheard of to watch a rookie wide receiver develop a little bit further over the back half, but I'm fine dropping any of them as well. Ballard in here had a question for us, said, would you trade Hall, Madison, Amon-Ra, Chark, and Devonta Parker, so your entire team, for Tyreek Hill, Christian Kirk, Aaron Jones, Gerald Everett? It's a 20-man PPR, and I have Jonathan Taylor and Jameson Williams on the bench.
Madison, Christian Kirk. Madison. So it's Madison Jones, Christian Kirk, Amon-Ra, Tyreek Hill versus Breece Hall.
Breece Hall.
Yeah. And then Jameson and Gerald Everett, you can just probably take out. Or no, I'm sorry. Jameson Williams not in this trade.
No, he's just giving us more context for what's on his bench, yeah.
I think in a 20-team league, you need depth so much. So to me, giving up that 5th player, I know it's Devontae Parker and DJ Chark, but it's like, who are you replacing with him? In a 20-team league, that's the major question. I'd rather have the Tyreek Hill side, but who are you replacing with? Is it people that are actually playing? That's what I need to know.
I think that for that reason, I would go the Hall, Madison, Amon-Ra side because I just like those 3 options as the top options over Tyreek Hill, Christian Kirk, and Aaron Jones.
God, this is tough. I think this is a really close trade. I think I'm with you, Justin. I'm holding on to that side. There's enough pieces. And while I don't like Madison, he's getting work. And in a 20-man league, a running back that has that kind of volume is probably worth rostering. Like that piece has value. I'm sticking put over there. What about you, Joey?
I'll stay where I'm at. Yeah, it's just this is a lot to put out there. I originally liked it, but Breece Hall is what broke it for me.
Aaron wants to know, should I start Kittle or Sam Laporta? This is what I was talking about earlier with tight end nonsense. I think I'm going Laporta. What about you, Justin? 49ers fan. Are you rolling Kittle out there against the Cowboys, or are you rolling Laporta?
Well, it sucks. We haven't seen you drafted George Kittle to be a top 4 tight end, top 3, top 2, wherever you drafted him. We haven't seen the return, and we have seen Sam Laporta come in and be a top 5 tight end. But against this Cowboys defense, with that Micah Parsons pass rush, I think that there's going to be a lot more short to intermediate stuff that they're going to have to get off. George Kittle, a bounce-back candidate, in my opinion, against this Cowboys secondary, which has caused a lot of turnovers as well. I think George Kittle has a bounce-back effort. I'd be comfortable starting him in my lineup this week.
Man, what about you, John Luke? You throwing George Kittle in there?
Yeah, I'm comfortable throwing him in there. He just hasn't been as consistent, but we've seen him in the past, like Justin has mentioned. He's talented, and the matchup this week is favorable. So I'm completely comfortable throwing Kittle in my lineup.
I hate this draft. I hate everything about it. With knowing a little bit of information, I'm panicking at every pick, forgetting what's happened. This is just tickling me the wrong way.
I really like Andrew's pick of Brian Robinson. I just wanted to say that.
Oh, that's a fantastic pick at this point. A top 12 running back. He's getting all the work. That was a player that I told myself I was going to remember not to forget buried in ADP, and then I come in here and forget it immediately. Joey, you grabbed TJ Hawkinson and then Matthew Stafford over here. You're still in on TJ Hawkinson as one of these top tight ends?
Absolutely. He's looked fantastic this season. He's been Kirk Cousins definitely his second option in the red zone. And then Stafford has looked really good. And I think he's only going to get better with Cooper Kupp coming back. Stafford, I think he's like QB like 16 right now, but he could definitely leapfrog into the top 12.
What about you, John Luke? Are you enjoying what you're seeing from Hawkinson so far? Are you worried that maybe Addison's emergence over the back half could eat into some of his work?
Maybe, but he's getting a lot of targets, so I'm not too worried about it. Everything we've seen since he's been on that team has been signaling that they plan to make him a big part of their offensive plan. So I'm not too worried.
I'm with you. Grimfin in here with a question for us while you're making your second pick, John Luke. I pulled the classic ask a question while you're picking. Grim wants to know, pick 2 to start in full PPR: DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Pittman, Christian Kirk, and Marquise Brown. Joey, if you're starting 2 of these players, who's it going to be?
Michael Pittman and Christian Kirk.
What about you, Justin? You agree with Joey there?
I'm actually going with Michael Pittman and DeAndre Hopkins this week.
DeAndre Hopkins. Both of those players, I feel like kind of opposite trajectories. I was a little bit more excited for DeAndre Hopkins, and then it's been a little bit disappointing to start the season. Christian Kirk started the season really slow, disappointed everyone, and then has flipped the script over the last couple weeks, being that steady wide receiver 2 in that Jags offense. Joey, are you buying into this being Christian Kirk's role rest of season? Is that why you're plugging him in here?
The only thing I'm afraid of with Christian Kirk is Zay Jones when he comes back. I mean, him and Lawrence have a relationship. We've seen it the last 3 weeks. That first week, Zay Jones is on the field, so maybe that was the factor. But especially this week, I'm assuming that the Jaguars are going to put a big point total up on the Bills. They've been over there for a week. They're not going to have to deal with jet lag. I keep bringing it up. It is a bit of a narrative, but I'm buying into it. I think the Jags are going to be hot this week.
Justin, you're drafting 0 RB, even though you've drafted 2 running backs.
I got one quarterback. I got one at least. I got one at least. That's Swamp Nola next to me has none. I at least got one.
I know. I'm talking your running backs. I'm saying through the first 4 weeks, you got 1 start out of Saquon Barkley and Alvin Kamara.
You know, there's a couple guys. I'm gonna be fishing. I'm gonna be fishing. Y'all already know me.
Setting it up. You're just laying it out, and then you're gonna slam the hammer down.
What is the key thing I said, Simon? I played for the last 3 weeks, not the first. I'd be cool with this team as an 0-4 team. I'd be very, very comfortable with this team being 0-4.
Man, I'm never comfortable 0-4, and this team's about to be 0-4 staring at it.
I really want a Kamara. I am sore right now.
But I'm happy with getting James Conner here in the 6th round as my first running back. He's getting a lot more work than I thought he was going to, and this Cardinals team is a lot more competitive than I thought it was going to be. I think that's sheer willpower, though.
Universe stopping the tank.
They just want to be competitive. Josh Dobbs is so charming and sweet that other teams are like, they should at least be close. We had a couple more questions in here. One from Dima Fieri. I think this is Guy Fieri's younger sister, if I'm not mistaken. Says, I'm 3-1 half PPR. I got Waddle and Adams at wide receiver, Pollard and Swift at running back. Who do I flex? DJ Moore or Alvin Kamara? John Luke, who you plugging in here, Moore or Kamara?
Well, let me pull up these matchups. I forget who Chicago is playing.
Chicago plays.
They got
play
the Bears or the
tonight.
Commanders tonight. Yeah.
Oh, duh. Yes.
The matchup of the week, John Luke.
I think I'd go Kamara over here. I don't want to chase those points from DJ Moore and the Bears in prime time this week.
What about you, Justin? You going with Kamara or are you going DJ Moore tonight?
I'm rocking with JL. I'm going Alvin Kamara. And especially if Derek Carr, if his shoulder is really a problem, which it kind of looks like it is, and it might be over the next 2-3 weeks. This offense got him involved massively. It wasn't very productive, but 13 catches for Alvin Kamara. Even if it's 6 or 7, I would still take Kamara over DJ Moore this week.
I think I'm with you. As much as I love DJ Moore, you can see the jersey behind me. It's not been necessarily pretty. Moore. That's his cousin David Moore.
But it reminds you of DJ Moore.
That's my father-in-law's name.
David Moore. And then this is Amari Cooper's
Scampers, you naughty cat. Ugh. And Justin taking Kamara. Those are supposed to be my 2 picks. I don't like you both. Oh my God, because we're playing this out. So I'm
Calvin Ridley. I took a lot of heat in the offseason for talking about Calvin Ridley not being a top 12 to 15 wide receiver. Do you guys think he bounces back as a wide receiver 1 candidate?
Man, week 1 he had me believing. I'm not gonna lie. Like week 1, I saw him out there and I was like, oh, you are still good at football, aren't you? Like I had just forgotten that he was that good, but I don't know, 3 more weeks and it's been 3 disappointments. I think it's more that Jaguars' offense isn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I thought they were going to be a much better offense. And if they were as good as I thought they were going to be, I think Calvin Ridley's fine. So I'll say no, because I don't see the pieces necessarily coming together here.
My expectation coming into the season was a back end wide receiver 2 or a high wide receiver 3. That was a category I was thinking he would slot right into. And so far on the season, that's right where he is. Yep. That's what we've gotten from Calvin Ridley. So I don't feel disappointed by him. I feel like this is what I expect. And he's got a bunch of upside on top of that, in that he's getting targets, at least outside of, take last week out. Don't factor in last week. He's getting targets.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the expectation sometimes for players, it goes through the roof, especially when the draft is coming up, because it felt like he was there all offseason. And then right as soon as the draft came, it seems like people were reaching on him.
Yep. They're like, oh yeah, Calvin Ridley exists.
Yeah.
I truly forgot that he was good at football. Like I thought, oh, you take 2 years off, you have to not be as good as when you left. And then week 1, he just shows up killing it.
Pops off, yeah.
Joey, you finally took your second running back here with Jahmyr Gibbs in the 7th round, even though he's been a bit of a disappointment so far this season.
I got him 4 rounds later than where I was drafting him all off season. Listen, I don't think he's going to have the points I thought he was going to have, but I still have the faith that he's going to be utilized in that Detroit offense. I really do. So getting him in the 7th round, I'm really happy. And then Zay Flowers, like probably the most fun I've had watching a player this season is what Zay Flowers has done whenever he has the ball in his hand. I've said when I go to Baltimore next week, I might buy a Zay Flowers jersey. I said it was going to be for JL, but I think it's going to be for me because I'm totally bought into him.
I saw a bunch of people like weeks ago. I think this was right before the season. A bunch of people walking around Baltimore. They clearly just gone to like the open practice, and they were all wearing these Odell Beckham jerseys. And I just kept thinking the whole time, was like, why would you get Odell Beckham jerseys? That just seems like a terrible investment. Like, so I respect the Zay Flower ones, and I fully support that.
And they're purple. I don't have any purple jerseys.
I really liked it. Sucks because I thought Odell would have a chance to have like this redemption arc. They paid him, but to see Zay Flowers, he is him. Like that is a football player. I'm curious to see how the ceiling looks for Zay Flowers because we haven't really seen that game out of him yet. And I don't know if Lamar, for all the Todd Monken stuff we heard in the offseason, and this offense is going to be so much better under him versus Greg Roman. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. That Ravens offense looks a lot like they did last year. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Not passing as much as we had hoped for once again.
I was thinking there would be a lot more volume on that team, and I think Odell's due to come back this week, him and Rashad Bateman. So I want to see all these guys healthy, which the Ravens never are. But Zay Flowers to me is a guy in dynasty leagues. I don't mind him being attached to Lamar for the next few years because it feels like he'll at least be wide receiver 2-ish or wide receiver 3-ish.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And hopefully, I think you alluded to, like, the injuries are the reason why they're not passing as much. And maybe as they get those weapons back, we start to see a little bit more of the shift, like you mentioned, which is a good point.
I sure hope so, because
I
the
hope
amount
so,
of
too.
times I said Todd Monken's coming in and they're sure going to throw the ball a lot more was probably too high to count this offseason. Freaking Todd Monken tricking my ass.
We're in the 7th round. A couple names. It's sad to see Nick Chubb and Aaron Rodgers on this list,
I
man. Like
know.
going through and just it's sad to see that.
What could have been?
God.
I tweeted this out yesterday, but if you guys want some great entertainment, go back and watch Hard Knocks now. Just knowing what we know now, it is too funny. It feels like it's written as a comedy.
Like all the high expectations, the Super Bowl talk.
Yeah, it's so funny. They're sitting there just like, yeah, this is our year. I'm gonna give the Jets fans exactly what they deserve, and I'm like, no, don't say that.
Man, that sucks. Man. I don't know. I'm not buying the Aaron Rodgers coming back before the end of the season talk.
Yeah, he's like somehow now Inspector Gadget or something.
Yeah. I don't know. Cam Akers did it. Was it 4.5 months for Cam Akers? And I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah, I'm with you. He's out there throwing on crutches this past week.
Playing in a boot.
So
The new boot cleat.
It's my cleats, my claws. My cleats, my cause, and this is the boot.
Yeah, he's got a new treatment. He's doing ayahuasca in the dark now, combining his last two. He's turning off all the lights,
With
doing
the
some
dolphin
ayahuasca.
But if he does come back, like let's say miraculously, do we think Zach Wilson could be the next Golden Bachelor? Like, do we think that's the next move for him?
Yeah, I think he does go on that show.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Seems like a good fit for him.
I think they already made that show though on Hulu. I forget what it was called, but we've talked about it. The one where they have the 3 moms and their sons who go on a dating show together, where the moms have to date a bunch of 20-year-olds, including the other young men there, and they have to share a room with their son. That's
Oh God.
Absurd.
That's a real reality television show that they made.
God.
They put it on TV.
TV.
Well, I guess on Hulu.
I like the what up, bro.
What up, bro? What up, Roberto? Welcome in.
Bro.
What up, bro?
Bro?
So would you trade Christian Kirk and Ramondre for Watson and Brees? And do you think that's even a trade? I don't want to do unk like that if it's a finesse. What do you guys think about this trade?
I like it.
Christian Kirk and Ramondre for Watson and Brees. What do you think of that trade, Justin?
I'd much rather have the Watson and Brees side. I think we've seen the ceiling already for Christian Kirk, which is kind of a back-end wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 3 early this year. At some point, that's going to balance out. Zay Jones will be back. Calvin Ridley will get a little bit more involved. So I think we're seeing the top end of Christian Kirk's value. Ramondre kind of seems like he's losing a little bit of that gas in New England. And Christian Watson and Brees Hall both have untapped upside so far. So give me the outside, and it's by a mile.
Yeah, I'm with Justin on that one.
Yep.
I'm with you. I like the Watson and Brees side a lot, but I could see somebody preferring that other side. Send it, man. I don't think you're fleecing anybody with this. I think it's within the realm of a normal trade, but I'm taking that Watson and Brees side as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Brees is about to be unleashed.
That's what they say.
Yeah. And if that's the case, I mentioned it yesterday. I'm going to say it again on DraftKings right now. I believe it was he's $5,600 on DraftKings right now, Brees Hall. I'll need to double check that, but it's lower than a lot of the other starting running backs. I'm going to look at it right now.
The amount I'm in on Zach Wilson, Brees Hall, and Garrett Wilson for this weekend is concerning. They're probably about to just lay a big old egg out there on the field. Hermson, you're saying, cannot believe that in the year of our Lord 2023, I am taking Joshua Dobbs in the 7th, but here we are. John Luke, you think it's worth a 7th round pick at this point, given what we've seen through the first 4 weeks?
Probably not.
I don't know. 2 top 8 weeks, the top 5 week. The last 3 weeks have been QB 16 or better. It was just that week 1 that was rough, and we don't know when Murray's coming back.
We don't know when Murray's coming back, which is not that's helping my point here. And the other part of this is that teams are going to start adjusting. They're going to start figuring out Josh Dobbs. We're only through 4 weeks. We still got a lot of season left to play. I don't think the Cardinals are going to continue to do as well as they have done when they have to do it at a sustained rate.
I'm with you on that. I feel like I like the rushing upside that he has, the 30 to 50 yards rushing each game for Josh Dobbs, which is fine and dandy, but it's not, I don't think we're talking about a matter of if Kyler Murray comes back. I think we're talking about when he comes back. And so, I don't mind, Hearn's my guy. But in the 7th round, we have some other starters here who, Baker Mayfield was still out there. Daniel Jones was still out there. Derek Carr is still out there. Like some other reliable starters I'd rather have over Josh Dobbs.
I hear you guys. I'm one to get swept up in a hype train. And the Josh Dobbs one, man. The Josh Dobbs one, I'm buying in. I just love
buy the custom jersey. Like he had the custom jersey that they on TikTok, there was the whole thing. They didn't have it available in the store.
Awesome. You couldn't order his jersey.
They had like some real scrubs in there in the team store too, and they didn't have it. It wasn't like they just had the stars. Like they had everyone but Dobbs sitting there in the team store. Did you see the Arizona Cardinals social media team getting like sassy on people's tweets about that? There was someone coming in like, actually, we resolved this last week. If you cared to follow up on our own page. Oh, wow. And she like kept coming in saying stuff like that on people reposting it and roasting them.
Kyren, Arizona over there having a good old time on Twitter.
We had some more questions come in here as well. If you guys answered these, let me know while I was gone. There was someone banging on my door.
We didn't
They didn't know what they wanted. Baby Santa
Wegman, you piece of garbage. Oh! Why would you do that to me? Now I gotta think. I watched them the whole time. Ugh. Now I have to Cam Akers.
Well, while you're thinking, Joey, Baby Santa, and you had a question. Welcome in, Baby Santa. I see you've rebirthed recently. So what's good, fellas? Y'all think I should start Fields at Washington tonight or fire up Stroud at Atlanta on Sunday? As much as I think Fields is an all right play tonight, I'm rolling with Stroud against Atlanta on Sunday. What are you doing here, Justin?
I'm actually going with Fields tonight for the rushing upside. I think that matchup against Atlanta, ball control offense, their bend don't break defense. I think we've seen a lot of volume from CJ Stroud. But I think with the upside that Fields has coming off the game he had Sunday, there's no way I could bench him after that performance.
Getting Justin Fields in there. What are you doing, Joey?
I will start Fields tonight.
Starting Fields tonight. John Luke, are you joining me with Stroud on Sunday, or are you starting Fields with these guys tonight?
Sorry, Simon. Starting Fields.
Well, it's just me and you, CJ.
CJ's like, I'm starting Fields too.
Atlanta's one of the most frustrating teams to play your quarterback against because they'll have these weeks where they're like shut down, but then they'll give up like a 40 burger like the next week, and it's really frustrating.
I think Justin hit on something there. They'll hold on to the ball for 14 minutes at a time sometimes, or they'll give you these long ass drives where you're eating up 8-9 minutes and then you leave with a field goal. No one even gets to pay dirt of the touchdown and the first quarter's over. One more question in here from Carlos. Carlos wanted to know, I have Cup, but I want to trade for Puka. What's the value I should pay? I have Connor, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, and Josh Jacobs. Justin, you moving any of those players for Puka Nacua with Cooper Kupp coming back?
You have Cup, but you want to trade for Puka. My question would be like, why? Like, what would be the reason for that? Because you already have Cooper Kupp, who, I mean, he looks good. The little practice footage that they show, it looks like he's back to normal. He got into full practice. This is a locked-in wide receiver one as long as he's healthy. The top 3 option at the receiver position. So Puka is going to tear down a little bit, whether you had him as a top 15 to 20 receiver. I think he's going to tear down a little bit. I'm not saying he's a wide receiver 4, not startable, but why would you want to trade for that receiver when he's going to be the secondary option on that team? Cooper Kupp's a clear established number 1 receiver.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think timing wise, if you really want Puka, just wait a little bit, and his value likely will go down in the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, and you'll be able to trade less to get him.
So I think I was thinking on this because Justin, I had the same thought as you. Like, why? Why are you doing this? I think it's very rare that we see a wide receiver situation that as clearly has a backup that will step into that role. And right here we have one where we saw Cooper Kupp goes down. Puka Nacua is getting that 12 to 15 targets a game, whereas like usually with wide receivers we don't necessarily see that. So this could be a wide receiver backup situation. Doesn't trust that Cooper Kupp's actually going to stay healthy. And if Kupp goes down again, he's got Nacua maybe at a decreased value to fill in that role. I don't know.
Don't give a starter up to hedge like that. I wouldn't take that strategy because I think you're just cannibalizing. You're eating into your own value.
If you guys had Puka, would you trade him for, if you needed a tight end, would you trade him for Sam Laporta right now?
Yeah.
I'll do that straight up.
Yeah.
You'd rather have Sam Laporta?
Yeah.
I'd rather Sam Laporta.
Yeah, I think they're evenly valued. I'd rather have either one, but if I need a tight end, I'd go Laporta.
I've been sitting on that all day, wondering if I should do it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, go do it.
Using us.
Hey, listen, it's good content for the people, and I'm going to make a trade. So let's see if I can get it done by the end of the show.
Joe Nathan wants to know, should I start Fields or Purdy? Justin, I'm going to throw this one to you again. You said Fields earlier. We're putting it to the test. You starting Purdy over him, or you rolling Fields out?
Well, I think Purdy's a safe floor play, but against a tough Dallas defense on Sunday night, I think even at home, I would take the upside still with Fields. The way he's playing right now, I think there's a concerted effort to make sure that he looks good on a week in, week out basis right now. And I'd expect, like, tonight, he has a rushing prop. I don't know what it is officially. I think it's over 36.5 on a platform that I use. But I think over rushing, I think he passed a lot last weekend. I think they get him involved as a rusher this week with that Washington pass rush.
I hope so. I hope we get another big Fields week. Joey, what about you? You starting Fields or Purdy?
I don't want to play against Dallas. That defense is just rock solid. I'll go Fields. Even though I don't really like playing quarterbacks on Thursday nights. I really don't. I seem to have had bad luck over the years with it, but I trust the matchup a little bit more tonight.
Well, that's because Thursday night football usually sucks.
I thought I said the wrong game. I thought you were going to correct me. I was like,
no,
oh, shit.
No, that's because Thursday night football, at least based on last year, is usually awful, but at least it's still football. One more question in here from Saquon. What's up? Wants to know, who should I start at running back? Gibbs, Pierce, or Herbert? So Jahmyr Gibbs, Dameon Pierce, or Khalil Herbert? John Luke, which of those three are you throwing in there this weekend? You got a strong preference?
Gibbs, Pierce, or Herbert. Sorry, I was sitting there vomiting into my mouth for my last pick here.
Oh, JL.
Last pick.
Gibbs has Carolina, Pierce has Atlanta, and of course Herbert has Washington tonight.
I would start Gibbs out of that group. I wouldn't be too worried. Yeah. I do think David Montgomery is going to still be the primary running back on that team for the start of this season. But Jahmyr Gibbs is getting more than enough work over these other two guys to make him more preferable over these other two.
What about you, Justin? You rolling Gibbs as well, or you like Pierce or Herbert?
I almost never like Pierce or Herbert. I'm going with Gibbs for the pass catching upside. I think in PPR leagues, I stick with that. Now, I like Khalil Herbert. It's just I don't think he's an every week where we're getting 18 carries out of him. And so at some point, I just drafted Rashawn Johnson. I think at some point we see Rashawn Johnson take over this backfield. It's just a matter of when.
I hate my pick that I just made. I
don't. I like it a lot.
I'm upset about it.
Luke
like
Musgrave?
Who the hell am I going to start at tight end for the first 4 weeks? I know not to start Luke Musgrave. Now I'm going to have to roster 2 of them. This is a catastrophe.
0 tight end.
This is an absolute catastrophe. Unruly dripping here. What's up, my friend? Unruly wants to know flex 1 12-team PPR. Another Gibbs question, but this time against Christian Watson. We've got Christian Watson going up against the Las Vegas Raiders, and Gibbs, as we just mentioned, has the Carolina Panthers. Joey, which way are you rolling on this one?
I'll go Watson here. I do like Jahmyr Gibbs. I've kind of been the Jahmyr Gibbs guy here on the show pretty much the whole season, but I like Watson in this matchup.
Justin, you agreeing with Joey here, or are you still rolling Gibbs out?
I'm with him on this. I think you get some upside. He was dealing with the hammy last week, slowly worked him in, limited. He's had 10 days of, actually it'll be 11 days of rest going from the Thursday night game to the Monday night game. I like Christian Watson. I
think I'm rolling Christian Watson here as well. John Luke making it unanimous, or are you going to give a little love to Gibbs?
I'd stick on the Gibbs side. It is close though.
Giving him a little love.
Nice.
I accidentally said it the first time, so I figured I would just double down. All right, well, we got one more question in here, but a reminder to everybody as we answer this one that right after this, Joey and I are going to be live on the Front Yard Fantasy YouTube channel for Fantasy Football Office Hours, where we are there for about 30 minutes doing nothing but answering your questions. We'll be live after this show ends around 4:05 or however long it takes for me and Joey to go pee and then sit back down on our desks to help you guys out.
I do have to do that.
Damn, if this was my draft, in the start of the season, I would have been so excited.
How would
Maybe
you
not
feel
at running
now?
back. Maybe not at running back though.
Yeah.
Now
It's a little.
I don't dislike my team. I like the team, the build. It's just, yeah, I don't think I would have been able to put this together at the start of the season.
I like the
Guys,
Kenneth
let's
Walker
try,
pick in the 3rd round, John Luke. That was one I really missed on this year because of my love for Charbonnet. But man, Walker looks really good out there so far
Yeah,
this
he does.
season.
Looks fantastic.
Why the hell did they draft Zach Charbonnet and JSN? Like, what? Like, why would you do that to us?
They love running
Pete
backs.
Carroll, freaking Pete.
Got to confuse the masses. You know what?
Got
Really,
to.
a lot of these teams, they do like, hey, we're doing this for real football purposes, not fantasy team. It's like it tricks people. It's easy to get deceived.
Yeah.
Man, like I get it. I understand, but I'm still mad. And then it doesn't help when I'm mad at Pete Carroll and they show him on the sideline.
He's the worst.
Oh my God, like he's got to be like messing with us, right? Like Pete Carroll has to be messing with us the way he chews gum.
I found myself trying to explain Pete Carroll to Maria this weekend, being like, "Yeah, he's like 95." I was like, "I think that's true." You can fact check me.
He chews 6 packs a day.
I was like, and he just chews like straight rubber gum.
I see an interesting strategy from Kyle, the Falcons fan there in the middle. 3 tight end strategy, but the last pick, Kyle Pitts, somebody who I'm assuming we all have had some interest in on our fantasy team, or hey, he's going to bounce back. This is the year. Dealing with the injury, he hasn't looked right. Do you guys think there's any salvageability for this season for Kyle Pitts?
No.
Is he going to the Cowboys? Or no?
I want to say yes so bad.
I'm with you, Jail. Like I just said no quickly. It was like ripping a Band-Aid off before I thought about it too much. No, I don't think so, because it's still Desmond Ridder. It's still this Atlanta offense that does not want to throw the ball, and Kyle Pitts doesn't appear to be first or second on this receiving depth chart. So
that's the part I can't get, because I can get the bad offense. I understand that. I just drafted Drake London in the last 2 rounds here. I don't think that Kyle Pitts is not good enough to get fantasy points on this team, but I don't think he is good enough to get fantasy points if he is not involved. And
yeah, that would take someone really good.
It takes someone really special, and for whatever reason, it's not happening. I don't know if it's the blocking part, but Jonnu Smith is not a bad tight end, and so while I think Kyle Pitts is going to win out at the end of the day, when is that day going to come?
It's tough watching it happen in real time.
It is. And I feel bad for Kyle Pitts, because that just sucks. That's hard.
It's pretty brutal. And I am sad that it happened. And I watched him get dropped in a league this week onto the waiver wire with the first bye weeks. Kyle Pitts hit the waiver wire in a 12-team league that I am in. Redraft, of course, but brutal. I haven't decided yet. I haven't had to make the decision yet.
Damn. It's a cold world out there.
Are you guys surprised I didn't get sniped on P. Ryan?
No, I'm not surprised, Joey. I think P. Ryan was just sitting there ready for you to take him whenever you wanted him.
I need someone to get my players some water and whatnot.
You holding out hope that it's going to happen?
I am this week. Like, if it doesn't happen this week, I've lost all hope. Whenever he's touched the ball, he's looked okay. Week 1, he actually showed a spark of something. I don't even know why I'm talking about him right now, because I don't deserve to be.
Out by Jaleel McLaughlin.
He's just
Jaleel McLaughlin. God.
Yeah.
Man, the highlight of week 5 waiver wire, Jaleel McLaughlin. Is it McLaughlin or McLaughlin?
It's a McLaughlin, like Sarah McLaughlin, like
the in the arms of
that is a song that she sings, I think.
Fly away.
Or so commercials have told me.
So,
angelic,
yeah,
angelic.
That was beautiful.
I've been
cried at
weeping
enough
up
dog
for the memories of
Slow tears started coming out.
Ladarius, and you're saying I still believe in Kyle Pitts because I have to.
Because I have to.
You're actually obligated.
And Herm said Kyle Pitts is the official fetch player of fantasy football. Stop trying to make Kyle Pitts happen. Kyle Pitts is never gonna happen.
Jerry Jeudy.
One more question in here, guys, before we jump out of here. But a reminder, we're going to be live right after this on the Front Yard Fantasy channel. Grim fan wanted to know Zach Moss or Christian Watson for flex half PPR. Justin, you still rolling with Christian Watson here? Is Zach Moss enough to tempt you away from him?
Jonathan Taylor is back. And when Jonathan Taylor plays, he is a running back 1. You get Jonathan Taylor in your lineups. You don't need to play Zach Moss at all anymore. So for me, I am completely out on Zach Moss this week. Not a player that I want to have.
I'm with you. If Jonathan Taylor's out there, I don't think you can be starting Zach Moss in this lineup. Guys, we are approaching the end of our show here. We're going to draft as much as we can before time is up. But I did want to remind everybody before we go to follow our guest, Justin Henry, on Twitter, and make sure you're checking him out on TikTok as well. He's at Justin Henry. Replace the 3 with an E for all of that NFL and NBA fantasy and betting goodness that he's creating for all of y'all. Justin, thank you so much for taking the time to come and hang out with us and do this rewind mock draft.
Appreciate you guys having me on the show. I noticed this wasn't a competitive thing. We, normally I come on here and I take first place with everything I do. So I know you guys were like, hey, we can't get it.
Didn't like you winning.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. Always a good time coming on here and talking shop with you guys.
My ego couldn't handle the hit today, Justin. We had to, it's been a rough week, man. I was like, I can't take another humiliating loss to that dude. And we had to call it. All right. Well, I think before we jump out of here, I see these questions popping in that we hit one more of them and then call it and head on over to office hours for the after party where Joey questions. But here's a little sneak preview of what you guys can expect over there. Carlos says, I'm short on wide receivers. Do I trade Derrick Henry for Breece Hall and Nico Collins? That's an interesting one.
Yeah. Ooh.
I love that question, Carlos. Justin, what are you doing here?
I'm keeping Derrick Henry in this one. And I think there's a potential, for this to be a pretty even deal. If you're desperate, this feels like I absolutely need to get a win here soon. That's what this trade feels like. You're buying a lot of upside with Breece Hall. I think you're buying a lot of ceiling with Nico Collins, who is a wide receiver 3-ish type player. But I think just having King Henry on your team, I think you could find a receiver to kind of replicate that more so than like a Nico. Like, I feel like you could find a receiver easier than you could find like a Derrick Henry type player.
His castle ain't as big as it's been in years past, though, Derrick Henry.
My last name's Henry, so I got bias, baby.
He's sharing it with Tajay Spears, moved in. JL, you agreeing with him, or are you sticking to the Breece and Collins side?
Yeah, and I do agree with Justin here, and I am a pretty big Breece stan. I think that he is a unique talent. I think he's probably undervalued at this point in the season, given what people think about that offense and how it's going to go. But he's still not Derrick Henry, and he's not getting the volume that Derrick Henry gets. No, nobody does.
I think I'm more willing to go on the Breece and Nico Collins side than you guys are here. Breece Hall, we've already seen great stuff from, and that has been sharing snap share, coming back from an injury. If they are truly unleashing him tonight, I think his upside is similar to Derrick Henry splitting with Tajay Spears down there. And then Nico Collins looks like the real deal wide receiver 1 for CJ Stroud, who loves to chuck the ball. I'm fine with this if you need wide receiver. I understand keeping Henry, but I'll stick over there. Joey, I see a nod in your head. You agree this might be enough for Derrick Henry?
It's enough for me. They're brewing something special down there in Houston, and Nico Collins looks to be a big part of it. And if you're short at wide receiver, I think Breece and Nico is enough to make it doable. I don't want to lose Henry, but at the same time, like, I need a win and I'm short at wide receiver. Yeah, I like this trade.
Can I throw in a little numbers here? The difference between rushing attempts of Breece Hall and Derrick Henry. Breece Hall has 30 rushing attempts on the season. Derrick Henry has 73.
That is correct. We also knew Breece Hall was going to be limited through the first couple weeks of the season.
That's true.
But you did draft Joe Burrow in the first round of this draft after his first 4 weeks. So if you're going to make that argument, we better go back and call that pick.
If you think Breece Hall starts averaging 20 attempts a game, I'm willing to hear that argument. Otherwise, I don't think Breece Hall gets up to those numbers and attempts.
Man, but Derrick Henry at the same time is splitting work as well. And I don't think with Nico Collins added that you necessarily need that from Breece for this to be worth it. I don't want to fight. I'm just saying I don't think you need 20 carries from Breece for this trade to be worth it. I think you just need more than he's been getting. You need that 12 to 15 a game plus Nico Collins to do what he's been doing, and you get that production back. But I fully agree with you. Derrick Henry's going to out-touch Breece rest of the season without a doubt.
This is a fair deal. I would say that. It all depends on the pickup. It depends on the pickup, because if you can pick up a receiver in your league who can give you wide receiver 3-ish type upside on a given week, that's where the difference is. It all depends on how savvy you are as a fantasy manager.
Who's the next best player on your waiver wire? Is it Sky Moore? In which case, that's pretty rough. But if you got Christian Watson sitting out there, you might be able to pull it off with just Derrick Henry. That's going to be it for us today, guys. But if you got some more questions, you can bring them over to Joey and I. Carlos wins question of the day so far with that juicy trade that he brought us, but maybe you can one-up them. We're going to be live on the Front Yard Fantasy YouTube channel right after this. Another big thanks to our guest, Justin. One more reminder to follow him on Twitter at Justin Henry with a 3 instead of an E, and check him out on TikTok as well. Until about 4 minutes from now, we are out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Get ready for that Thursday night football, and good luck in all your week 5 matchups, everyone. Adios.
Bye.
I made the trade. Reporter for Puka.
Yeah.